A very good evening, everyone. My name is Shikha Pathak. I'm the Manager Awareness and Skill Building at SciSec. Welcome to today's webinar. This webinar is a part of SciSec's weekly series titled Samgachhatvam. May we all progress together. The objective is to cover cybersecurity topics and provide conceptual overview. So let's start by going through some ground rules. All attendees of the webinar have to be on mute by default. We will have a question and answer round at the end of the presentation. In case you have any questions, you can share them on the chat window and the speaker will respond after the presentation. We will also be recording this webinar and this recording will be uploaded on SciSec's YouTube channel, so you can revisit it later anytime. This is the 23rd webinar and the topic today is privacy concerns in social media. Next week, we have a webinar on business continuity planning and we'll be sharing all the registration details soon on our social media channels, including Twitter and LinkedIn. These are the upcoming webinars, so stay tuned to this space. We are happy to tell you that we are also on Twitter now. So you can follow us on Twitter at @SciSecCoE. We share regular updates regarding our webinars and all the major happenings in the cybersecurity space, opportunities in this space. So stay tuned, follow us on SciSecCoE for regular updates. As usual, we will be having an assessment after this webinar, which will be kept open for 60 minutes. The questions will be from topics which are already covered in this webinar. Those who get 11 or more than 11 out of 15 marks will be provided with a certificate of achievement. Those who are unable to take this assessment will be provided with a certificate of participation. At the end of this assessment, you will also be asked to provide feedback. So please provide your genuine feedback and be assured that it will have no bearing on your assessment whatsoever. Please provide your details very clearly while taking the assessment, as a certificate will be generated basis these details only, and SciSec will not be responsible in case of any discrepancies. The link of the assessment will be shared in the Q&A chat session. Please note that this assessment is open only to those who have participated in this webinar. Let me now take this opportunity to introduce the speaker for today's webinar on the topic of privacy concerns in social media. We have with us Mr. Ashish B. Vakharia. Ashish is a deputy manager and he leads data privacy and security related projects. He has over 8 years of experience in information security management systems, personal data management systems, consultation, auditing, risk management, and training experience and expertise. He has worked on various global complex engagements across industry sectors. We are sure that this webinar will be really insightful and all of our participants will have a lot of enriching experience. Over to you, Ashish, for the presentation. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Shika, for the warm welcome. I hope my audio is clear to everyone.
Yes, Ashish, it's clear. Yes.
Sure. Thank you. Let me share the screen so we can get started. Is it full screen now?
Yes, Ashish, it is full screen now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for a warm introduction, Shika. This is basically a privilege for me to participate in the webinar.
Actually, is this a new course starting from?
Okay. So it allows me to share the knowledge, basically, which is really hot topic nowadays on privacy concerns in social media. I'll be presenting at Samgachadvam series 23. Sorry for the bad word. So agenda of this topic, I've tried to keep it very easy, which will help us everyone to understand about the privacy, the personal data, and how social media is impacting nowadays. So basically, in the beginning, we'll have an overview of what is the privacy and personal data, then what are the regulations out there around the world, then what are the implications we'll see just for this limited regulation, which is nowadays in much talk, and then there are some principles and how this principle applies to a social media and how they raise a concerns, basically key threats, risk in social media, and last but not least, how we should protect from all these key threats and risks. Okay, so as I said, session overview will be more focused, which I would like to promote that our like individuals, we own the personal data, not the organizations, basically a social media, which we say Facebook or Twitter or any other social media platforms. This session will help you to empower to take control of your personal data. It should be very important that we should control our personal data, not others. And at the end, it will help you to safeguard the data of what personal data you are sharing on the social media platform. And throughout the life cycle of data you share through the data life cycle, that is basically collection, storage, processing, and transferring. And last, but as I said, proactive steps in online social networking. Now let's come to the very basic concept of what is privacy and personal data. So we heard that, right? Most of the time we just ask like, what is the privacy? I don't know. Like, what is the personal data according to you? So in very easy term, if I want to quote privacy, is basically someone's right to keep their personal matter very secret, right? And you see, like basically in India, we don't take privacy very seriously. If I would like to give examples, basically on the privacy, basically let's say in our current COVID situation we are facing right across the world, and our regulation mandates that we are not supposed to disclose the name of the patient who comes or who tested as a positive. But as of now, when someone is in the nearest lane or someone we come across the news, we just text it with the name, detail, entire biodata of that person, and we just send it to everyone saying that this person has been positive. But as a matter of fact, it should be a very private to him or her. So you also look at in that way right now. It's very almost impossible to basically apply for admissions, jobs, raising child, drive a car, make appointment without sharing your personal information. So basically, we are living in the data-driven world. So everything, everywhere you go, data is there, and that is where I'm saying privacy is very important. So the data which you're sharing, your personal data is very important. This personal data goes through a life cycle for the organization or the social media platform which we share our information. Basically, they start from throughout the collection, they store your personal data, they process your personal data, if required, the transfer, and on upon your request or a legal requirement, they destruct also. So this is the life cycle of how personal data is being shared. So the phase going now, right? The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil, but it's a data. So in other words, it's quoted as a data is the new oil. So that is the importance of how data nowadays. There are some key definitions I will take you through because it is required throughout the series. Personal data, basically, it is the information relating to an identified or identifiable natural person. So when I say natural person, basically it's an individual, a citizen, or data subject. Okay. So if I have to give an example, let's say, can you say if I just say 10,000, is it a personal data? No, because it is not identified or identifiable with a natural person. If I say employee number 10,000, so it is, yes, it is identified with some person, by which I can go directly or indirectly or try to find out his entire detail. Who is the employee with the 10,000 number? So that is become my personal data. If my employee ID word is added with that, but if it's just a 10,000, it cannot be a personal data. Similarly, we want to know about what is a controller. So let's take example of, I hope everyone is on Facebook or any social media platform, basically. So when we share our personal information, when we register, when we log in, sign up to Facebook, we give a lot of information to the sign up form, right? So basically they control the personal data. That is become a Facebook becomes my controller where we are sharing our information, right? So that is where the controller comes. There are also some joint controllers. Joint controllers is basically a partners who is with Facebook. For example, Facebook owns WhatsApp, Facebook owns Instagram. So they becomes a joint controller. Sometimes if you even want to log on to the Instagram, you can use just a Facebook ID, right? That is how the information is basically authenticated. They becomes a joint controller. Processor. So if Facebook is a tie-up with a third party, let's say Facebook is hosting all the data on the cloud, and if it's AWS or via Google Cloud or any other cloud, Microsoft Cloud, Azure, they become a third-party processor where they are hosting or they're storing the personal data of the Facebook users. Okay. Apart from that, the consent is very important. Consent is given. Consent will be given by a data subject. So data subject being we should give a consent when we register, right? We have a habit of just reading terms and conditions, click, tick, 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 and just apply. But we don't read what exactly the requirement has been given in the agreements. So that is the consent. Means it should be freely given. Now, earlier, what used to be the agreement form used to be like longer of 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. Now, many of the regulations made mandate saying that your consent form should be very minimal, easy to understand, where people provide the consent. So agreements, the terms and conditions should be very minimal, where people will able to understand, and they freely given the tick saying that yeah, we agree to share our information. Processing is basically all the activity which Facebook is doing on behalf of you. It is done by either by controller or processor. Personal data breach is basically sometimes when we face issues saying that my profile is got hacked or my personal data is been disclosed. So that is called a personal data breach. And there are in Facebook or any other social platform, there is always a help center available where you can notify and go back. Apart from that, regulations also come with their own authorities where we can go and register a complaint against that. So basically, we have a cyber cell in India and so on where we can register the complaints. Okay, so this is a basic definition which you should know. Now going forward, this is just a glance of what personal data we can categorize into. Okay, so personal data I have kept in different boxes, so where basically you can relate. Personal data, business data comes with your name, job title, and so on. Where also personal data becomes a photographs, videos, and audios which we share on the social media platform. Similarly, from employment personal data point of view, your home number, mobile number could be also one of the personal data. Financial accounts, personal data. We have IT related personal data. We must think why IT related personal data is called as a personal data, because it's identifier. IP address is identifier. If you log in from your IP address to a Facebook, Facebook knows, okay, XYZ person has logged in. They'll keep track of your IP address. Cache memory will help in that support this. So every time when the IP addresses changes, they notice this is that okay, you're coming from this is IP range or this is your IP address. That becomes a personal data, because if you see the definition, it is identifying you because it's natural person that you are the one who is logging from this IP address. Similarly, geographic identifiers, username, password, browsing behaviors also considered as your personal data. Related something related to identification data and regulated data, your date of birth, immigration status, driving license number becomes your personal data. And so you see, there is one category called personal data. There's another category called sensitive personal data, which is more sensitive, which require more security, which a social media platform should give. So it is more of, if you see, ethnic origin, your gender, your religious belief, political or philosophical views, and health biometrics, genetic information, criminal conviction, and sexual preferences, and so on. So this is very important, and all this information basically we give or we by default share on the social media platform, which is basically highlighted in the blue colors. How this is being stored, processed, and transferred. Basically, there could be a physical file where a personal data is being stored when we apply for admission. Nowadays, everything is now turning on online, but previously most of the admission form used to be physical forms where all this personal data is being stored. Then we have a locally kept electronic files where we can chat in master files, database, and spreadsheets. All this social media platform basically stores all your information in the cloud or their own hosted data centers. Basically, all this information resides there. Sometimes this personal data also might be on the USB sticks, removable floppy disk. And yes, all the personal data basically nowadays on your mobile devices, as we have all these application specific social media applications is on our phone. Now, if you see now privacy, as I said, the data is the new oil, right? Now, if you see around the world, there are new privacy regulations is coming in. Be it your European Union, US, then Japan, Singapore, India, all major countries are coming with their own privacy regulations, which they want to prevent the breach of their citizens' personal data. That is the aim of the entire privacy regulations around the world. In this session, we'll just take three regulations for our understanding. One is GDPR, which is one of the famous European Union regulation on personal data. California Consumer Privacy Act, which is a CCPA of US state, California. And one is for India called Personal Data Protection Bill, which is in the bill format. It's in draft mode. For our session, we'll go through this. Now, if you see these regulations, GDPR CCP is already enacted. It's already there. PDPP is supposed to be enacted this year. Now, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which is from Europe, just see the implication. If you fail to implement those regulations, what is the penalty? It is around 10 million for Tier 1, 20 million for Tier 2, or it's up to 2% of your total worldwide annual, whichever is higher. And similar for Tier 2, it's 4% of your worldwide annual turnover. So there are many cases. If you can see, you might have read in newspaper, British Airways recently fined with $204 million because of the breaching, because their website got attacked, and they lost around 500 databases of their users or their customers. Similarly, if you might have heard about Marriott, right? They also lost a lot of data of their customers. Similarly, in CCPA, the penalty is in different way. Basically, they charge per incident. It might be vary from your $100 to $750. And similarly, Section B that it says if it's intentionally done, then it charged basically based on 2,500 to 7,500 for each violation. And our personal data protection bill is basically a Tier 1, Tier 2, which is still in draft, but they're proposing of charging 5 crores or around 2% of global turnovers, whichever is higher. So basically, any social media platform, if they fall under this privacy bracket and if they fail to protect our personal data, they will be liable for this punishment. Okay. Now let's get familiar with what role we play here in the regulation. Okay. As we focus, basically, as we will focus on our personal data protection bill, which belongs to India, we call it as a data principle. If it's a European citizen or any natural person in Europe, they becomes a data subject. Similarly, for CCPA, they becomes a consumer. Now, there are 4 interested parties basically in entire regulation. If you read regulation, if you get time to read the regulation, just keep these 4 things in your mind and start reading the regulations. Basically, you will easily able to read the regulation requirements. So there will be a data subject or data principle. Data fiduciary is the organization who is the first point of contact. In that case, it's a Facebook becomes a data fiduciary for us. and Instagram or WhatsApp becomes a joint data fiduciary because it's a partner with the Facebook. And similarly, for the processors, if any third party is involved who have tie-up with the Facebook products, they become a data processor. Or if data processor is further contacted to some gives their work to a sub-processor, becomes a sub-processor. And in India, we have something called Data Protection Authority or Appellate Tribunal. It's a legal body in India. Now let's take example. Let's say basically we being a data principal, students or teacher or individuals with our own PI, when we register, when we give our information for administration team or finance team in the college for admission form, so college becomes my data fiduciary. Further, when college also shares some information with a university or student section program, they become my data processor. And similarly, if any PII data breach happens, where we are going, where we are basically going to launch a complaint in Data Protection Authority, Appellate Tribunal, or cyberspace. A similar example, if you take from the social media platform angle, as I said, individual, when we sign up, we have our own PII, become a data principal. FB becomes my joint controller, Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, where we sign up. And similarly, a third party where in Facebook also you might have seen they have a services to play game within a Facebook. So they become my data processor because they also know who is playing the game, and I'm a Facebook user. And in case of any issues which you face with the Facebook, you either directly contact Data Protection Authority, Apex Tribunal, or you can also contact Protection Officer of Facebook. So this four parties plays a very vital role in data privacy. Now, I'll just give you a privacy compliance, basically, where all major social media applications or organizations adhere with the widely accepted principles of data processing. Why it's very important? Because social media platform deals with a lot or trillions of data, personal data across the world, right? And it is very important that they should adhere to at least some of the data processing principles, where my data, first of all, the first principle says process lawfully, fairly, and in transparent manner. Whether my data is processed lawfully. When I say lawfully, basically, is it they do they take my consent that my personal information should be processed? Do they have any legal obligation to do that, or is it of vital interest, or it is like legitimate interest or vital interest at all? When I say fairly, basically it should be a very context of good faith. It should be processed very fairly. And in transparent manner means basically exactly they should know why they are processing. Is it required to be processed or not? Second says collected for specific, explicit, and legitimate purpose. So if my information is being collected from the Facebook, is it for a specific purpose? It is only required for a Facebook profile, or whether they are going to share with XYZ parties. And at the end, when my data is being registered, if they collected, is it going to require for legitimate purpose at the end for the tracking from the government or any other legal authority? Third, it says, is it adequate, relevant, and limited to what is necessary? So they should not ask you the details which is not relevant. It should be adequate, required for that Facebook profile itself. They should not be more than what is. They should not ask more on my health-related information that is not required to sign up for the Facebook, right? Similarly, when I said fourth, it should be accurate where necessary, keep to updated. Means the information which they are collecting, it should be accurate. They should be keeping updates. They should be asking where do you want to change your phone numbers up to some period of time or email addresses, so on. It should be accurate. Fifth is written only for long as necessary. So once I delete my Facebook profile, I think as per their Facebook requirement or their policies, within 3 years or 4 years, that Facebook profile should be get deleted with my entire personal data should be wiped off. And similarly, the sixth is processed in appropriate manner and to maintain a security, because we might have seen, we might have heard lots of incidents which is come across Facebook profile got hacked, 2.3 million, 300, 400 million records got breached. That is because of lack of security. So this sixth principle is also very important, that Facebook should have a adequate security that prevent from such incidents. Now, what is for us? What is for us is something in the bucket of on your left side called individual rights. So there is rights given to us by regulations. Basically, it's called data subject rights. So I do have a right to access my information. If I have to go back tomorrow, Facebook says no, will not show you your information. That is a breach of my data subject rights. They should give access to all information which you have already uploaded on the Facebook. That is your right, first right. Rectification. You have a right to rectify your information at any time. If somehow because of technical glitch or something, your Facebook data or your profile details become mismatched with other person, your date of birth has come wrong, you have all rights to rectify. Then amendment. You have all the rights to amend all data. Any information at that point of time, you have fully rights to amend that. And last is deletion. You have complete rights to delete your entire profile, be it on any social media platform. What is notice? So notice is basically it should be from the your data controller or data processor should notify you saying that this breach has happened to our website and your data and with the XYZ information has been breached. That is a notification. Or if you see principle 2 collected for specific explicit and legitimate purpose. Let's say if my when I sign up, my information is only collected for a Facebook, only for Facebook requirement. If Facebook wants to transfer this information to Instagram or web or WhatsApp or any other third parties, it is for a different space. The requirement is now changing. So basically, it is they have to again come back and notify to us saying that this information is also being transferred to a different requirement, which already we have. And consent is, as we discussed earlier, consent is what we give. Yes, you're allowed to look at my personal data. That is what the consent is given. And accountability and data security principles also will see like basically each controller and processor has to implement. Basically, it should protect, they should take complete accountability of your information, what you give. They should maintain high level of personal data integrity and high level of personal data security. That becomes a very different topic, how this is being implemented at the social media platform. We'll discuss probably in another session, but this is again the duty or accountability of a social media platform. Now, even after listening everything, probably we might be thinking, is it really do I have to care about the privacy? Because I'm open, I don't have nothing to hide, right? But what happens when we see in India, many of the people are not aware of the real value and importance of privacy information. Hence, we don't pay much attention and we just come to in a situation where we disclose all the information. So if I just say point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you ever heard about something called geofencing. So geofencing is something which nowadays used for marketing purpose. Okay. Geofencing is basically a virtual geographic boundary which is created around you. Just imagine you're walking by Central Mall and somehow you got a message saying that there is sale of 50% off. How did they get my number? Right? We got a message. So similarly, Facebook also has something called Facebook geofencing marketing. So Facebook allows third parties. Let's say if you want to open a hotel or if you want to open a store, using their geofencing marketing, you can collect the data about the people likes, dislikes. Similarly, in-home devices, which nowadays we are on IoT devices, basically we are using a smart bulb or smart door locks, smart cameras, and so on. Then we have a smart voice assistant, right? Alexa, and so on. Now, just imagine how this smart home devices also can lead to a breach of our personal data. So let's say we have a smart bulb at home. Now, everything is monitored by the app. Okay. So around at the night 10 a.m. or so 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., we turn the light into the pink. Probably they might be noticing our moves, all the digital footprints. These devices must be, this app must be monitoring. Now, probably the voice assistants also, we play some romantic songs on that same times on the Amazon, whatever we have voice assistants with us. All this, if all these different products, if they're using a same third-party library, right? Now it is called cross application. So basically, using cross application, my personal data is shared with everyone. And similarly, using this geofencing marketing, they will target related products to us. So that is how entire personal data is shared across. We also have something called variables. We have lots of variables technology that is already designed nowadays in markets. Just imagine how much of the health information related data we are giving, our heart rates, or how many how many kilometers we ran, all the information which is with the variable. We are using nowadays autos, right? Nowadays we are seeing electronic bikes, electronic cars, which already inbuilt GPS mechanisms and many other related functionality which we have implemented for comfort, entertainment, and so on. So just imagine they are also having keeping track of all our GPS, where we are going, how much kilometer we drove, and so on. And also all this data, if we collect and by a data broker, this also most of the time it's being used for a voting purposes. So you might have heard something which happened with a Facebook, and they also has to pay fine for that. It is called Cambridge Analytica. That was a third-party tool which allowed to collect all the personal data of Facebook users, uh, along with their likes, dislikes, and all the preferences, and already it's got collected to third-party application, and that was used for the during the propaganda of US uh, vote presidential voting. So at the end, it costs a lot. Basically, it's privacy. If it's got misuse, it has a devastating effects on each of us, on each individual, which might be ranging from your financial frauds, identity thefts, unnecessary cost to personal times because we feel emotionally stressed. We might have to take doctor appointment, meet concerned people, then restriction to a property, harassment, and so on. At the end, reputational damage is what we are going to pay. Now, I'll just look at the way how this my personal data is being gathered uh, by your data brokers, basically. So this is you. All this data is with you. All this information is with you. Now, just imagine earlier how the data was being collected, and now how it's been changed. In since decades, they were collecting your data from census data, market research. They used to do whatever the basically publicly available data which we had, vehicle records, voter records, and so on. Similarly, remember it might be going to malls and signing a form for some survey form or just forms in terms of you might win something, right? A newspaper subscription, magazine subscriptions. So from there they used to collect the individual data. And recently, yet how it transformed is basically all the information available of your digital footprints on publicly available data, the websites you visit, okay, a social media platform which you might have apart from Facebook, you have other platforms which also helps to collect information about you. Right nowadays, most of us we are using the smartphones, apps. Then we also doing online purchase, basically on Amazon or Flipkart and so on. And basically all the smart gadgets we have at home. So all these are giving information to someone, and someone is collecting all information about it. So they call it data broker. We'll also see what data breakers is all about. So at the end, yes, data privacy is very important to us. And whenever you have been asked to share your personal data, just think, is it required, and what they're going to do with your data. Okay. Now coming to the importance of what social media and how the privacy concerns will come, and which we see nowadays. Most of us we are using social media for knowledge purpose, expanding network, for fun. Basically, we want to connect with our family, friends across the globe. Someone is using, many of us, we also see people are using WhatsApp as a business to expand their business, right? They are creating lots of group to expand their business, and sometimes also we use this to share skills, photography, and writing, cookery, and music skills. So that is the purpose of basically social media, and that is where millions of people, billions of people are connected over the social media platform. Now, if you see how many of you know this social media platform, I think everyone is knowing what is this logos of social media. These are the giants in social media platform, right? We recognize each and every app, and most of the apps is already in our smartphones, right? How about this one? Do you remember this too? Something called WeChat and TikTok. Recently, this got banned, right? Now, if I say why this WeChat and TikTok is got banned, because WeChat was the second largest MAU, having second largest MAU, monthly active users, which is around 1.6 billion people using the WeChat application. And similarly for TikTok, it's around 500 million monthly active users who were using the TikTok. But what was the reason why in government of India and also US government banned WeChat and TikTok is basically they found something issues raising concerns related to data security and safeguarding the privacy of 130 crore Indians, right? And at the end, why that was one of the reason they have given in their notes, press notes is saying that that is a threat to sovereignty of and society of our country. And also they have been uh, launched complaints saying that TikTok or WeChat is also sharing all this information which they are collecting to outside of India. So that was the reason India put around 59 different China's app. Uh, they have put a ban on because of that reason. So as I said, all these different social media platform we have it on our mobile. Now just imagine how we are dealing this. So how this tracking, profiling, and affecting people in real time. Just imagine every interaction which we do, click, okay, we swipe. Let's say if you are someone is on the Tinder website, like left swipe, right swipe. Similarly, if you're using videos on YouTube or any other channel, registration and app installation, likes on Facebook and any other where moves, shares, posts, if you purchase something from Flipkart, Amazon, and call center call. Everything is being tracked, okay, uh, by some third party which is available or the same organization which is available. They combine your all information, analyze, sort it, rank it according to their requirement, personalize it, and they give you the scoring and prediction for each and every moves or interaction which you do. Everything happens within a 10 microseconds. Just imagine now how technology is changing, and it helps to know to specific organization. Let's say if one Facebook wanted to know how much likes you have given, what content is shown, which products they are listed, they like, how company tries to shape someone's behavior. All this information is happening. That is called profiling of users. And at the end, if you see, data from social media is already used for credit scoring. Can you imagine, even let's say if you go for a credit card and if your credit card is score is low, no banks will give you that information. Everything they're doing with just of what interaction we are doing on the social media, right? So this cycle is very important. So every interaction is being counted, whatever we are doing on the social media platform. Now imagine something called there is a concept of called data brokers. So data brokers is having a huge collection of attributes of individuals. They can sell this information to a organization which want to enter into the new market. So let's say Axicom is one of the data brokers. Okay, they have information about individual of their age, gender, education, employment, what their political views are. Is there anything related to loan, incomes, and net worth? What is basically I like this one health interest, then religion related information, likelihood that someone is heavily on Facebook user, is someone is social influencer or not, social influencer or not. And similarly, there's another data broker called Oracle also is in the market. They also have a lot of information about the people or individuals who is interested in what, who's interested in what, who is interested in student loans, mortgage, okay, who is interested in basically very different movies, Air Force, Army, Navy, and all this information they already have. And these data brokers also comply with the regulations of on privacy. So what probably the information they might be storing, let's say if they know about me, they have all these attributes about me, but they might not be having my name there. They might have pseudonymized my information with some different number, let's say India and some 20-digit number. And with this information, they are able to track. Now, only concern comes if anyone is able to get that my ID number with my name, then it's a breach of my privacy because all these attributes then about me and all the data breakers is known. Now, basically, we are using the social media on daily. Basically, one of the studies says probably most of the users are using social media platform at least 6 hours in a day in 24 hours. So basically, if we use more of this social media platform, what can go wrong? One of the key threats basically we see is fake requests. Okay, on social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, there are users who create a fake accounts. With this help, with this fake accounts, they try to spam or harass individuals. Sorry, there was a latest case in Mumbai where a man was held for creating girl's fake profile. Why he created a fake profile? Because that girl did not accept his request on the Facebook. He went on creating a new profile of the same girl using her all profile pictures, all the pictures. Because one of the reason why he was able to do so because a girl's Facebook profile is made public, so there is a less privacy uh, security. So that was one of the reason. But at the end, that person is got catch. Okay. Nowadays, if you see phishing, right? Phishing mails mainly involves creating a fake social media accounts or stealing confidential personal data. Sometimes they we see right people receiving email about IT returns or you won the lottery, Pepsi have wanted to give something on their yearly price and so on. Nowadays, because of this COVID situation, you're also receiving email from WHO saying that you have been selected to have a free COVID test. So that is also fake accounts where they ask you to give all your information related to financial information, personal information, and so on. So that is also key threats where if we use social media and if our all personal details on social media is made public, we might have to face all these key threats. Continuation of this is something called cyberbullying. One of the cyberbullying is when person use basically they feel repeatedly harassed, humiliate, embarrassed, and threatened. So that is also happening most of the time. In the one of the recent case, basically uh, the boyfriend uh, updated his girlfriend Instagram account and he changed the password and he posted unrelevant content on her Instagram page, which at the end leads that lady to a lot of harassment and humiliation. And similarly, on the privacy breach, if you see, uh, one of the news which I've seen recently, I've read recently is what people are doing is they're sending you a request on Facebook saying that no, please participate on the online weight reducing program where you have to share some pictures of your body and by looking at your all pictures could be a body parts or full body parts and looking at your pictures will give you the a diet chart. Some people are falling under this trap. They're giving all this their personal information, and at the end, what the people are, the hackers or people are doing is they're asking the money. If they don't give, probably they'll share this all such shared pictures with a in on social media platform. So all these key threats are we should be very aware of. Now, basically, what are the root cause of all this happening, right? We have just seen the key threads. Now, how this actually comes into existence? Is there any way where on how my personal information is basically getting disclosed? Is it from my end, or is it from the organization? Is it because of Facebook they don't have safety measures, or is it because of individuals they have not implemented their privacy controls? So the answer will be it's both. So first is it's everything is in our hand what information is to be shared or not shared. And if you see a giant social media platform, they already have given the lots of security or settings where you can keep everything to be a private. Now one of the example, if you see source and root causes, is profile hacking, which is very common nowadays. Cracking the password of social media sites in most of the common way of one of the hack where you see uh, profile hacking issue happens. Now, uh, one of the incident which happened last month is one girl received a message on her Facebook account saying that your fake account is created where your all full body parts related images has been shared, and here is the link. Now, once that lady have seen this message, she got very panicked. She clicked on that link, and once she clicked on the link, her real Facebook profile got hacked. So everything was there in that link, where that link allow created remote session, and where that got the hacker got the entire user ID and password details from their profile. And now when she wanted to actually access the original profile, that was hacked. Similarly, nowadays we have in our mobiles or in your systems, we see lots of application which we use nowadays. But we need to understand what is the real application and fake application, right? So there are many applications which comes along with the malicious code inside, which we don't know. And that is where most of the Android or Apple come with their own store, app store, and they recommend to download the apps from that store only, not from the other websites or other no area. So why I'm saying is because App Store already have the some defined requirement of scanning all these applications from the security and privacy concern. So if something comes to App Store, I think most of the time that app is good, which don't contain a malicious code. But the permissions of that app, the sharing of data to that specific app is on us. So by default, all permissions should be set to no. If that app requires the requirement of, let's say, microphone, is app that requires the requirement of geo access, messaging, SMS, phone, contact details, only that we can allow. Rest everything should be kept at a no. There is another root cause, basically a social sharing. This is sometimes called as a tool for a burglars. Let's say if you're going to out of India, you do check-ins, traveling to Paris. So people who wants to basically target your house for theft and so on, they are basically looking, they are having their eyes towards social sharing. If someone in this area is going out, okay, now they come to know, okay, someone is not there in that house. So we might be hearing lots of thefts and burglaries happening nowadays. That one of the root cause could be a social sharing. You keep on posting everything wherever you're going, and that allows thieves to come and do the burglaries. Another could be idle accounts. We might have nowadays lots of social accounts. We are on lots of social platforms, and we don't know one of the accounts we have not used from since long time. But all my data is still available on that. Personal data is available on that, and it's ideal from them. And such idle accounts are also easy targets of hackers. So if you're not using those accounts, or you don't wanted to no more interested in that social app, I think you should go and entirely delete that profile of yours. Sometimes because of our human errors also, we end up clicking something incorrect link and downloading wrong file, which also gives entire access to hackers to look at our entire personal data. Last but not least is something called unsecured devices, because most of the time we do laziness in updating the patch of applications. If you go to the app stores, every time there is a new version is available. Sometimes we don't download that. Earlier, it was the concern because having 1 GB was costing a lot of rupees. But nowadays, internet data pack is no more concern. So the suggestion should be that should be continuously updating your software patches. So to be so hackers will not get advantage of the unpatched devices. And at the end, if you understand the entire risk which we discussed so far, from your data collection till the destruction, uh, as an individual, I feel we come under the bracket of financial damage and the damage to reputation. Reputation damage is very huge because at the end it's going to affect you. If any of your data is being leaked, profile is being hacked, we have a lots of damage on our reputation. Similarly, on financial damage, why I'm saying financial damage is basically going to the cyber cell, going under the emotional stress, meeting doctors, and so on. Also going to loss. And if in case if hackers demands you for ransom, saying that let's see if I'll not leak your information, you have to pay me this much. That is where the financial damage comes in. So you have to be very proactive and alert when you're posting everything related, your personal account social media platform. There are some ways which I would like to even suggest when you're using a social media platform. So basically, first suggestion is always enable a two-factor authentication and strong password. Any good social media provider, be it Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, WhatsApp, and there are other many more. They always allow you to such kind of features. Okay, make sure, if not right now, make sure that your password which you already set for such accounts, it should be minimum of 10 characters. Should have a special characters involved in it. Have a combined of small caption, capital letters. That is always a good suggestion. In in my experience, I have seen many people using very common passwords, like for example, tiger at 123, welcome 123. Such passwords are easy to crack. People know uh, there is a huge list of such weak passwords available on the net. You can also search probably. And this is always the first step of any hacker. If they wanted to crack any profile, they will use all such passwords called dictionary attack. If you fall under that trap of dictionary attack, I think it's easy for you to, for the hacker to get access to your profile. That's where I'm saying it should be a two-factor authentication, where again you're making it more strong, and that feature is also available in, as I said, into many of the social media platform providers. And at the end, don't share your password with anyone. As I given the example previously of Instagram, where boyfriend breach into the girlfriend's Instagram attack uh, app. Why? Because girlfriend might have shared the password with him. So such things also comes and you might have to face. So never share your password. Uh, Tips to protect against second tip is basically all these big giants also give you something called privacy check or privacy checkup option where you can go and basically wherever you are interested, you can put this all privacy related settings. You can tick enable all these things. Basically, mainly I suggest remove all third party access party applications, which is there. If you are there on the Facebook, and if you also taken the service of playing games within the Facebook app, I think you should remove access of third parties because they know all your personal data. Remove your activity data also if when which page you visited, which likes you have did, all these also activities being tracked. Also request you to remove all this activity which is we don't want also, right? Third could be don't accept requests from unknown profiles, right? As I said one like earlier, which incident I said is one request come to girl saying that your profile, there's another profile which is being created which has unwanted photos, and that is a request she accepted and she clicked on the link, right? And she has to face the consequences that she actually lost the access to her real Facebook profile or the social media profile. So don't accept requests. Just try to understand if we already know him, you have met before, and so on. So don't accept requests at all from the unknown profiles. Avoid participating in unnecessary surveys or questionnaires. You might be thinking that we spend such times daily on internet and editing activities. We often receive messages regarding contests, winning jackpots, online quiz, and completion on much more. But don't fall into the trap, because at the end we may end up with giving a lot of personal information, right? And which is going to misuse against us only. Fifth will be don't share unnecessary or unwanted sharings details on social media. Okay. Uh, why I'm saying is these three questions is very important when you do when you want to share something. And if you see this, avoid posting personal information and holiday plans, as I said, because if you're moving, let's say if you're going to out of India or Paris, you're sharing everything on social media. That gives hint to the people who want to do some bad activities, right? Burglaries and thefts and so on. By looking at your posts and sharing, they can track you. And at the end, the thing which we are also doing right now, basically invest in periodic awareness on social media issues, risk, review, update security settings. Because now, if you have already knowing that what risk is involved, and obviously you're going go back and look at your settings on all social media platform about your security and privacy, I think that is going to help you a lot in future. So awareness related to all these social media issues and risk is very important. And always patch your applications, which is uh, the new update version is available on the App Store. Please get update to the latest version of it. Even still, if you, let's say, if you are affected, uh, even right now you might have faced or already faced, or you might be facing right now, if someone hack your profile, what to do in that case. First step you do is basically send a common message to your friends or groups, notify them saying that my profile has been compromised. So don't entertain the what are the messages coming from the hacked profile. And you always have something called help center to all social media platforms, be it Twitter or Facebook. You can basically go report and all these suspected activities. Also, there is a cyber cell available in India where you can go back and register such complaints. Believe me, cyber cell is fully loaded with such kind of uh, complaints basically. So it is always suggested to keep all your accounts on social media platform very strong and secure. Sometimes because of all this situation, we have seen many cases people are personally mentally affected. So in that case, what to do? Basically, you should go and speak with your parents, teachers about the situation you might have come across, take their suggestions. Also, there are especially there's a professional counseling and advice is also there to take you out of this mental depression. So all this damage control is one time, but it's going to affect you, in your life a lot. So be aware of all this uh, such the key threats which we discussed, the sources of all these attacks which we have discussed, and prevent yourself from all this activity. So at the end, like what will be the takeaways for us? Is basically, as I said and mentioned, uh, you'll be checking and doing privacy checkup on social media platforms on regular intervals. Always remember, and I'll also implement this concept of THINK think, right? In in day-to-day life, basically, it's like, is it true? All the message which we are receiving on the social platform, or if we wanted to share, just think, is it true? Is it going to help the society? Is it going to inspire the society or you? Is it basically really necessary to post comment on the social media platform? And is it kind? Is it going to be a very kind? So THINK formula is very important and it's very effective. Keep your account secure. If you are not enabled, or if you don't have a strong password, I'll request you to go after this session, change your password and make it more strong. So one of the example of a strong password could be phrase it, and basically you'll be able to remember. So something like that: early morning I catch bus at 8. This is the one phrase I said: early morning I catch bus at 8. So first all letters I will remember: EMICAP, EMICAB. Early morning I catch bus at 8. EMICAP at the rate 8. So my password will be early morning I catch bus at 8. That is my password. But if I have to remember what is my password, this is a short sentence or short formula of that. EMICAP at the rate. Always enable the multi-factor authentication, because nowadays many of the social media platforms is giving you this facility of multi-factor authentication. So in case if somehow if you so your password is also got breached, you will also save by a multi-factor authentication. Update the security patch and apps version on the regular basis, that is needed. Verify the permission granted for social media apps. Disable those which is not required. So by default, you should go with default should be deny all, which you don't want to share with anyone. And wherever it's required, you just enable those. And do not subscribe unwanted services on social media, that is games and events and so on. So that is what is all important. So overall, the objective is, yes, privacy matters, right? All your personal information is belong to you. If it's made available to a social media platform, we keep to ensure that they are not a public. It belongs to you only, and you should be take control of your personal data. I hope this session helped you to understand about what is the privacy, what is the personal data, and how social media platform is, taking advantage of this personal data, and what are the controls you already have in your hands to stop those things, right? And be safe from such kind of key threats which we discussed. So thank you again for your time and the active participation. Shika, we can open for the question and answer round.
Yes, Ashish. I think we have many questions in the chat window. We have shared with
Okay.
them on the group also for you, so you can take them now.
Sure, no problem. So one of the question is basically, it says, how do we protect our devices from hackers? So I'll go back to again the slide number where we discussed on the same. This is the tips you is going to follow. The tips will help you from that also, and basically you will not uh, download all fake applications, because fake applications by default gives the permissions to the hackers to take your all your personal data, right? And it should not be idle. Second question is, what data crunch and data leak is same. So data leak and crunch is almost the same, but data leak is happens because of the security issue, and crunching is of a technical glitch. So that could be the difference. Fourth, another question is, are there any chances that the application installed from the Play Store can be hacked? Uh, yes, the question is, there are some incidents which we have seen before also, but these app stores are not regularized as of now, so we cannot go back and say that it was because of your fault. No, our personal data is gone as a risk. So as a no, as a measure, what we can do is, when we install such app from the Play stores or app stores, uh, we can disable the permission for that app. So my data is not going, it's not being sent to an unauthorized person or hackers. There's another question. Someone is using my PC. How can I identify? Okay, so check at your PC where any remote application is enabled or not. Okay, or remember, if you have clicked on any link which is a suspicious link, uh, I'll request you to format entire PC. In that case, if it's right now it's happening, if you know that PC is controlled by someone else. Now, because what happens, there are many apps also available, or many softwares also available which spy on you. Okay, so one of the solution right now could be a formatting, or you can use a good antivirus which will able to detect such unwanted, uh, you know, uh, actions which is happening on your system. The next is, if my email ID is found, then what is my next step should I take? So email ID or your email, email ID is basically now available anywhere, as I said, right? If you go back and say email ID is already available, so this information is all across. So at the end, password is very important, because everything which is about your email is what you will receive is all spam emails. So there is also a spam filter option in your whatever email service you're using. You can enable that spam filter basically. Uh, so there's no way to stop that your email ID being shared. You have to only then, wherever in the social media profile you have made your email ID seen by everyone, you have to make it private, or only to yourself, or only me. So that is only one solution for you. But make sure that your password is very strong, where your whatever the data which is inside your email is secure. Next question is, how does anyone on social media profile details can be related to financial institutes? As example from your site on credit scoring, right? So this is I'm on the same page. So how it happens? It's basically all these informations and all the apps are basically using the same third-party library. Okay, so if I'm using a same third-party library, there could be highly chances of all this data can be uh, formalized into a one bucket, and then try to know how this credit scoring or financial information can be tracked. So that is possible nowadays. People, even many of the organization, what they are making mandatory is they are asking employees to share their Facebook or social media passwords. Why so? Because company don't want to take a risk of anyone if uh, any information of organization or company, if they post it on the social media, they are not able to track that. So that is also in debate nowadays. So so even I'll answer the same question basically. How does anyone social media profile details can be related to financial institution? As example, because this financial institute also wants to know, also wants to target other customers, right? So taking your database from that, uh, from the data brokers, basically they'll also try to see if you're related to with another banking or other financial institute or not, and what is the score there. So based on that, also they'll also see whether to give you credit or no. That is could be one of the way. Next question is, how to start our career in cybersecurity? Any suggestions? Yes, see, cybersecurity domain is very important. What we discussed so far, basically, uh, it's going to help you a lot. If you see the slide, right, the privacy compliance. If you, let's say, if you're good at the software development, or if you are, yeah, if you are good at networking, right, all these principles has to be implemented by all data controllers and processors. When I say data controller, it's any company, right? So if you know this principal requirement, and if you are able to build, there is a very good opportunity for you to have your career in this area. Can Facebook data be really deleted? If possible, how do we do it? So yes, Facebook data is permanently deleted. You have that option in the Facebook account settings. You can go there, and probably they'll ask you to delete the data, and that account will the deletion request will get verified, and your account will be permanently deleted, and you will also receive acknowledgement for that. Next question is, if I'm not allowing to access my information, then app will not, sorry, if I'm not allowing to access my information, then app will not working. Like, I did not get this question. Question number 10, it says, if I'm not allowing to access my information, then app will not working. Like, I can you just repeat this question? I'll take it later if you can resend it. Next is, if my email ID, I think I have already answered that question. My laptop was hacked, and to recover data, Bitcoin currency was asked. What action should I take? Uh, as of now, see, that is for ransomware. The ransomware has a very minimal solution nowadays. First of all, if it's being already hacked, we can't do because your screen is monitored by them. And if they ask Bitcoin currency, here will be three suggestions. If your laptop is really containing critical or sensitive data, and if you think that whatever the money is being they're asking, and the data is more worth than that, I think uh, one is basically let's give the money and save your data, option A. Second option is basically you have to register your complaint to a cyber cell police where they can try to reach out to those people from which IT this request is coming in, and they try to grab these people. And third is always make sure that you use a good antivirus. So basically, all such kind of threats will not appear, and which will already it's called a preventive action, which will already prevent you even before you click on that. So remember, if you click on that, sometimes your Chrome browser or Mozilla browser or Internet Explorer will ask you the the site is not safe. So that is always the one alarm for us saying that okay, there is something wrong which will not go or which we don't want to go. Next question is how you can know unknown person and can hack someone. So basically, it's very easy to know if person is unknown on the social media platform. You always see their profile data. It is always incomplete. They have not filled all the details. So that is already a one way of knowing those people. Um, Next question is, sir, share some scopes of cyber forensics with the cyber security. Cyber forensics is basically comes uh, if you really want to know, we can collect offline also on this cyber forensics and with cyber security. But forensics is mainly with you to try to know if damage is already happened and to now to know what exactly what happened, what is the root cause. Forensics comes into the picture. I think I have last question. Sir, I have a not used Facebook profile for about a year. I don't remember the password. How do I about the deleting profile? Okay. So, see, if you remember, you might have when you sign up for your Facebook account, I think you already created uh, given your email address for that, right? And now what you can do is you can do a click on the forget password. They ask you for a password reset option. And they'll ask you for the email address. Uh, you have to put that registered email address in that box. The link will come on your email address. Click on that, change your password. Now again go back to the Facebook with a new change password. Go to the settings and you can delete the account if it's not required. Is there any questions? Uh, I think I have already answered all the questions. I think only one question was not clear is question number 10. If you can want to ask it again, please. Sir, how harm is that to attend the online quizzes and how we came into know that we are hacked? Okay, online quizzes. Can you be specific like what quiz? Is it like college quiz, is educational quiz, or anything on you're talking about Flipkart or Amazon quizzes, which is there they'll ask you to spin the wheel, something like that you're asking. So if you can clarify the quiz, I think that will be good. Meanwhile, I'll take the next question. Share your thoughts on awareness for call scams on national media. What exactly do you mean by call scam? Because I'm not aware of this term. First time I heard this call scam. Is it basically you're talking about the we are receiving multiple dozens of calls from you're interested in credit card or something like that? If yes, I think the answer is already the data which you made available on your social networking. This there are many organizations out there who can easily capture your data and give it to those call centers where they are daily calling us and harassing on, do you want this loan, do you want this card? This is there. So at the end, it's up to us how we make our information, mobile numbers and email addresses, make it private. Um, Next is question number 18 says, Yes, you're right. Basically, sometimes it happens, but as I said, so default should be deny all. Wherever, let's say, for example, for Facebook and WhatsApp, they might require a storage permission. I think you should grant, but permission they don't want related to microphones or SMS or contact details. You can disable those. So only whatever is required you have to grant. So basically, storage is required basically because they're keeping all the information cache on your system, on your mobile applications, on your mobile storage devices. That you can enable those, not all. Any browser extension which can be used to save from tracking. As such, there are many browsers available, DuckDuckGo and so on. Even you can use Google Chrome. There is a incognito mode where you can do safe tracking. Next question is, do you have any opportunities in SciTech for freshers? Yes, I think SciTech is hiring. I just saw the post. You can connect them with later on this. Sir, to what extent e-commerce applications are secure, and is there any chances of hacking our financial details can be taken by other person? See, it's all everything. There are various aspects to that. Let's say I will take one of the example could be Flipkart. You already registered your information. Only thing is you are not supposed to store, even though they are comply with lots of regulation, but the ideal way is you should not store your all financial debit card information on that app. So whenever you want to buy, you untick that box saying that remember this financial information of debit card. You untick that, do the payment, and that's it. Place the order. Sometimes what happens because you're using your mobile, it's a small device. If you misplace and if someone got access to that, if nowadays there's an easy way to even crack your password. If they crack your password, if they go to Facebook, if your card number is stored there, there could be chances that you will see that your account is bank account is got hacked or the money is gone. So always on the better safe side, you untick that option. Don't remember the debit card and just pay it. Next question is how can I use educational website safe? Um, who is free? So uh, is what educational site is it related to cyber security or data privacy you're looking? There are many things are available. Even LinkedIn have LinkedIn Learning where you can go and learn, and there are a couple of other nowadays because of the lockdown. Oracle have provided lots of uh, free trainings uh, who are related interest in database security. So there are various platforms available where you can visit that. They're safe. You don't have to pay, and while you are updating your personal data, make sure that you give whatever is required. In this next question is, in this digital world, cyber awareness is the only thing which keeps us safe. To some extent, yes. The word is to some extent, yes. You awareness is very important. It should be the base of everything. Without awareness, even if I put lots of security on mobile or at in the organization, if there is no awareness, I think it's of no use. Awareness plays a very important role and crucial role. Okay, next is if you're paying through online payments, there can be chances of hacking. Yes. Uh, Again, I will relate to the earlier question. If there is a lack of awareness, yes, there could be chances of hacking. If you might have seen lots of issues happening with Google Pay, right? People don't know how from using Google Pay they have fallen into the trap of losing their own money. So if you are actually aware of how Google Pay works, I think then it's safe. But ideally, you should be very well aware of all these wallets which is available. Next is so since everything is going on virtual mode, so we fill the details through Google Docs. So are there any chances of hacking? So when I say if it's a personal detail, I think as I said, the slide is still there. If it's complying with the principles of data processing, if it's required for legal and where if it's required for lawful purpose, is it correcting for the specific requirement? I think you don't have to worry about that. And I think you'll be giving only minimal requirements which is required. You will not share all the information. If it's required for your educational purpose, I think there is no harm in sharing on Google Docs. And it's the job, it's responsibility and accountability of your institute or your college if you're filling up to delete that information later in point of time, right? If all the requirement is set. Next is it safe to attend online education quiz based on the computer science technology in which they will provide e-certificate? Yes, because I think if you see what information probably you're sharing when you register is your first name, last name, email address, phone number. Apart from that, I don't see any other personal information you might be sharing. I think it's good, but make sure that they are you learn a good thing from that platform. Uh, that's it. I think uh, that all questions, whatever that I've answered. Any other questions, please? I've not got the question number 10 correctly because if we can.
Requesting whoever has asked that question, if you can please rephrase it and share it again, then Ashish will answer it.
Yeah, thank you, Shiva.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, Chaitanya, go ahead.
Yeah, how safe is this online storage like Dropbox, Google Drives? How safe they are? Like nowadays, Mega has become very famous.
Yes.
So how safe
See,
are storages?
they are there to give you a storage space. Now it's up to us like what data we are going to keep. From the security point of view, if you see, unless and until without your user ID and password, they are not going to open. What if your email address is got hacked, right? So at the end, that is going to give you a devastating effects if for any personal data, pictures, videos, which is there on the third party platform. At the end, yes, from the consequences point of view, it's going to be uh, going to damage you a lot. But if you keep all the materials related to your work, education, or other things, not work, I'm saying education or training related material, I think that is good to go. There's no damage on you. So basically,
Thank
that I think you should be worried only the what content we are sending in that platform. That's
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
it. Welcome.
Another, yeah, another question. If the PC is got attacked by ransomware,
Uh-huh.
so if we, so how can we overcome by without paying the amount, like without paying the ransom? Can we overcome?
See, ransom is nowadays going very clever. So even if I have a solution available in market, there are some applications which will help you to reduce the effect of ransomware and free from that attack. But nowadays ransomware is becoming so hard to crack, and they're using the encryption technique, so it's very difficult to even break that. So most of the times it happens that either you pay or you forget the data which we already there. And even to safeguard from this attack, I think as I said, like you should be having very strong antivirus and other preventive measures called intelligent protection system, intelligent prevention system in your system. But I think at the end, the care should be taken that we should not touch the unwanted link, which might lead to ransomware attack.
Thank you so much.
I think the unanswered question. Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
Savita.
I'm sorry. Can you please share it on the chat window? We cannot be allowing everyone to be asking
No,
questions on the mail.
actually, that was not my question. But what I understand is probably he must be asking that if you don't give certain permissions, the app doesn't work. So how do you disable the permissions when it is mandatory?
Yes, Savita, as I think I already answered that. I'm saying it is like by default, I was saying that it should be deny all. So let's say if you're taking Facebook application, right? Now Facebook application requires certain permissions. So for example, storage permission is required. So for that you should enable, but microphone, SMS, contact, and there are some other permissions is already there. If you go to the app, that should be disabled because we don't want it to share with anyone. So when I say contact list, whatever everything is available in my contact.
Ashish, I think we've lost your audio. Hello? Ashish, I think we've lost your audio.
Hello, hi Shika. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Abbas. I think we
We'll
can
share the
share the
assessment
assessment
link.
link. Yeah.
Yes, I've already shared. We'll stop the recording of this webinar.
Yeah, I think we can stop, or we can check with Ashish if you want. I can call it.
Everyone, thank you Cybersec for this opportunity. It was a privilege and honor to be part of this webinar.
Thank you so much, Ashish. I think it was a very enriching session, and you shared some very relevant examples and real case scenarios in which we can protect our privacy and can stay safe online. So, thank you so much for being a part of the Samgachatvam series. Thank you.
My honor, Shika. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So, we have already shared the assessment link